أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum to each and every one of you, and thank you so much for tuning into PTV World. You are certainly watching World this morning. I happen to be Shahzad Khan, and with me I'm really lucky that I've been joined by my wonderful colleague who happens to be Miss Eesha Rehan. Hello Eesha. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you over here.
Walaikum assalam, Shahzad. Thank you so much for having me, and I want to say a very happy and warm Jummah Mubarak to all of our viewers watching. This Jummah, it's not only about for us to come together in our prayers, but for us to come together in strength and unity to showcase our resilience.
Exactly, and thank you so much for directing our conversation into this. And there's always a reason, why I would introduce you, because it's really, I do believe, an obligation for me to ask about my neighbor over here. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, for the past couple of days, we do see friction in between neighbors, where we speak about the peaceful Pakistan and the Modi's fascist regime, which is actually BJPizing India as well. Not just that, I think what we really need to talk about over here is that how, our Honorable Information Minister just 2 days ago said that the next 24 hours or 36 hours are going to be crucial. We are still building up on that, and Pakistan television has been at the forefront of it. May it be our, news desk teams, may it be our anchor persons, day in, day out, we're keeping a close eye onto how the situation is molding and changing as well. But where do we stand as of today is something that certainly is a question mark for us as Pakistanis. And in order to talk about the military preparedness, alhamdulillah, Pakistan will be steadfast in their resolve, and we back our armed forces no matter what. But there has been recent developments, and I would want to kind of speak about those developments first up, which is President Asif Ali Zardari and Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif have reaffirmed that Pakistan would never compromise on its territorial integrity and sovereignty and would respond to any act of aggression in a befitting manner. This resolve was expressed at a meeting between them held at the President House in Islamabad. They discussed the current security situation, particularly in the light of tensions with India in the aftermath of the Pahalgam attack. The two leaders expressed deep concern over India's belligerent attitude and provocative statements which posed a threat to regional peace and stability. Not just that, I think where we are to kind of speak about regional stability, India really needs to think about it. Pakistan, one after another, we have been saying that, that there needs to be a neutral probe, and that we should actually get more people in, who they trust, who we trust, so that we can actually look into the situation, and that too, through means with which we could actually come with an outcome where Pakistan stands firm, on their, because what they have been expressing by far is that certainly, Pakistan has no involvement in the Pahalgam false attack, and it's India, under the Modi's fascist regime, who actually want to blame it onto Pakistan. And I think that's where the lapse is as well, because I'm going to quote a report by BBC over here, and I do believe that it's one of the most important reports as of today, and that's something which actually will make India embarrassed onto what they have really been doing. Because imagine that a recent BBC report has cast serious doubt on the Indian government's narrative surrounding the deadly attack in Pahalgam, raising suspicion of a possible false flag operation. The report actually highlights glaring security failures, questioning how such a high-profile tourist site lacked both police presence and CCTV coverage. Eyewitnesses and survivors confirmed that no security personnel were present at the time of the attack, while the police arrived nearly an hour later. Adding to the controversy, the BBC actually questioned how Indian forces obtained images of the alleged attackers within hours despite their delayed response. Journalist Anuradha Bhasin called the incident a reflection of continued instability in Kashmir even after the revocation of Article 370. Defense experts citing the export have called the Pahalgam incident a major intelligence failure and urged the Indian government to address internal security lapses rather than blaming Pakistan. In addition to this, Prime Minister has actually spoken to Qatari Amir on telephone as well. We have been extended support by our brotherly nations, may it be Turkey, may it be Azerbaijan, may it be Qatar. And so the Amir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, has appreciated Pakistan's efforts for peace in South Asia, saying that Qatar wants to work with Pakistan towards ensuring the de-escalation of the current crisis after the Pahalgam incident. And we're very thankful to all of our brotherly countries for standing behind Pakistan, and Pakistan resolves for peace within the South Asian subcontinent. In addition to this, I think this is of utmost importance because the news came in just yesterday as well, where the Chief of Army Staff statement was recorded, and I think that's the statement that the entire Pakistan will back, that too on the occasion of the Tillfield firing range military exercise, where, we're calling it Hammer Strike as well, where he did say that any misadventure from India will be dealt with a befitting response. And that's exactly what we would want to build on, ladies and gentlemen, because the Chief of Army Staff, our Sipa Salah, saying that we are ready to defend our borders, and that too through ideological and technical preparedness. And there's no doubt in it. And I think, speaking of our armed forces, one of the finest and the best as well. And to speak about it, we're very lucky that we have been joined by senior analyst who happens to be Brigadier Retired Waqar Hassan Khan Sahab. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Walaikum salam and good morning from Turkey.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, first of all, I think I would want you, I'm going to request you to look at the entire scenario, and then we'll move on with the session of questions.
I think this so-called war being fought in five fronts by India actually. One is the information domain that you and me are doing it, and I think Pakistani social and electronic media has done wonderful, including CTV, to rebut these claims. Then you have a military preparation that I'll elaborate in detail. You have diplomatic war, and then there is a legal and economic war. Pakistan shut their space, and the report is that only Indigo, which is the largest airlines in terms of carrying passengers, lost $1 billion in stocks. So this is indirect cost. Now there is a report that Air India will be, suffering a loss of closer to $1 billion in a year. So this is just two airlines. So these are the, I think, five fronts. And in legal, I think our legal experts who are going to fight the case for Indus Water Treaty, so this is part of the law here. Now coming to the military preparation, I think that is very important. And interestingly, I've been going on Indian media for the last 5 days, including, Arnab Goswami, who's famous for, his, I would say, antics and, monkeying. Basically, Indian media now become, I think, frustrated. It is especially basically Godi media because 80% is dominated by them, and they are living in a logic bubble. I always say that you guys are so much frustrated. You do shouting. You don't discuss very decently. Even we get like not even 10% of the time, but still we are able to communicate to them that this basically you have a lost cause because there is no truth in whatever you said. So I think on all fronts, Pakistan has given up a fitting response. Actually, Moody is now considered as a meme in South Asia. The way Pakistanis have actually trolled him, and even here in Turkey, we found a lot of support from the Turkish people, Turkish social media, and their higher ups. And even they offered that we'll send the navy to Karachi. I said no, we are good enough. Inshallah, in case there'll be, then we'll definitely give a call. There's support coming from Azerbaijan, from Middle East, from China, now Europe. I think even George Galloway had a program before yesterday. He was very, very
Exactly.
supportive. So I think people are now realizing that the truth is on Pakistan's side.
Exactly, and not just that, sir, because you've mentioned Turkey as well, so Mr. Mustafa, the chairman of Turkey's Great Union Party, has voiced strong support for Pakistan, calling on Turkey to stand alongside its brotherly nation. He emphasized that backing Pakistan is not only a moral responsibility, but also a key aspect of Turkey is foreign policy. And I think that's a strong message. Not just that, I think if we go to Qatar, if we come to China, we have seen how the US State Department has been issuing statements as well for us to de-escalate the tensions in between Pakistan and India. But sir, let's precisely speak about how our Sipa Salah, the Chief of Army Staff himself, actually visited the Tilla field firing range where the military exercise Hammer Strike was underway as well. And he said, in his remarks that, that we are ready to defend our borders, and that too through ideological and technical preparedness. How do you see this, these remarks coming from the Chief of Army Staff himself?
I think this first is coming from a strike on a strike course. That is very, very, I think, critical, and it also communicates the, body language. Because in war, your attitude and will to fight is very important. You find Indian basically military is demoralized. We have pounced, fratricide between two units recently in Kashmir, occupied Kashmir. Now, I think Amici went to the strike court, and as you mentioned, the exercise is hammer strike, a hammer shield. So it means that in case you want your heads to be blown off, you have the hammer. And in case you attack, then you have a shield as well. Now, strike codes, just for the public consumption, are very important. We have a couple of them. I'll not name them. But they are tasked to go across either LOC or international border. So strike core is a huge message. that we have eyes across the border and across the LOC, and if need be, then we take the war into enemy territory. So I think this is a very, very strong message. And the Indian media was always asking me for last 4 days, where is your army chief? And I told them that he's in a war room and he'll appear, and give you the message. I think that happened yesterday. So there's a lot of, I think, commotion. The other thing is the preparation of the other services. I always say that last time, when Swift taught, Indian Air Force was embarrassed in front of the entire world.
True.
And this time, probably three services are going to get embarrassed. So it's going to be the Indian Army, going to be the Indian Air Force, and Indian Navy. You have huge capability in terms of standoff weapon systems. So for Pakistan Air Force now can strike 200 kilometers inside India. So you imagine flying from any airport within 200 kilometers. Our drone capability in the sea is enormous. It's 1,500 miles. So just imagine an aircraft carrier of $1 billion taken out by $50,000 drone. And then I think most important is what the Indian same defense analysts are saying. That is very important. Like
Sure.
Parveen Sani regularly doing programs, on his courses program, and then Lieutenant General H.S. Panag, who's a Sikh Corps commander retired, he said that you don't have technical, technological, or even edge
Superiority.
in the manpower because there are a lot of Indian forces are committed on China's border with Bangladesh, with Northeast. So all told, Indian saner voices are saying that India doesn't have the edge to be decisive. So basically,
Exactly, sir.
stop
That's
it.
true. That's true as well. And we certainly have proofs of the news which came in as well that how one of their commanders from the Indian, unfortunately embarrassed army, was actually moved because he said that we shouldn't really be, getting into this with Pakistan. Number one, then one of their, I think, embarrassed Air Forces, officer was actually moved or probably, I think, sacked as well. But sir, in addition to this, I think I've got a strong link to believe because it's hard for us, the other brotherly nations who stand behind Pakistan, to kind of see through what India is actually trying to do over here. Because hear me out on this one. Our leaked secret documents reveal that Indian intelligence agency RAW orchestrated the Pahalgam false flag operation. The documents posted on Telegram reveal that RAW planned and executed and the attack. The documents also clearly provide evidence of the involvement of Indian government in the attack. The leaked document reads that anti-Pakistan narrative should be spread on media 36 hours after the attack and blame should be placed on ISI after 36 hours. In addition to this, the same document further reads the narrative of the incident should manifest attack on state and non-Muslims and media assets be mobilized 36 to 48 hours before the incident at the location of attack. The document further revealed that an operation will be carried out in occupied Anantnag district and field operatives will be stationed at specific locations on the pretext of monitoring tourist movements. What do you have to say about it? It's their own document which was being leaked.
I think this is huge success by Pakistani intelligence. The way I think they've been able to extricate such top secret documents. The other, I have few, some experience of analysis of how the Indian research analysis and IB works. I'm doing a book on that. Basically, they also have physical drama parties, as we call it. Now, drama parties are mainly for false flag. So they could be dressed up like let's say freedom fighters. They could be dressed up like any nationality, and they are even doing it in Afghanistan. So this is their job, and I think there is ample proof, like Chatti Singh Pura near Jammu. When Bill Clinton came, it was talked on media also in year 2000. So there was a massacre of 36-6, and now basically there is an Indian captain retired, and he is now in the hiding, and he disclosed that he was part of this operation, basically to malign Pakistan. So this is, I think, then we have Balakot, Lieutenant Governor of occupied Kashmir, Satya Paul Malik, that I call him Satyanas Malik, saying that I told Modi that don't do it. And now there's a lot of voice coming. Even if you look at Indian Punjab, it's very interesting that how Indian Punjab is reacting. There is a call by Mr. Sanjit Singh Man, who is basically on 10th of May. There are three demands. One, that they don't want war with Pakistan. Number two, they want to open the border. Number three, they want basically a buffer zone, Khalistan state. Just imagine, it's not Gurpatan Singh Pannu, it's the
Yeah.
civil society now saying it. Because they feel that they'll be slaughtered in a nuclear holocaust, Indian Punjab, or let's say Pakistani Punjab. And they are even advising, actually tempting Modi that now let's have the war on the border of Gujarat and Rajasthan. So they're basically pinpointing that, okay, take it to the Bhagwa belt, and why are you getting six out of? So I think this is huge. And he is also, I think, mentioned Harpal Singh Blair, Iman Singh Man, yesterday, do watch these videos. which they are saying that they have given no proof of this, and they very strongly feel this was a false flag. So I think this is the feeling within India. Naturally, it doesn't come on the mainstream media. Same is true in South India, Northeast, the opposition is demanding. Occupied Kashmir, people are now realizing. And even Indian media is saying that they are not Kashmiris, they are basically Pakistanis. So that's how they are being treated. Altogether, I think Modi has gone into, I would say, he's tapped into a net that he basically carved it for Pakistan. And it's very difficult to get out of it. And Modi media is one responsible for this, war hysteria. Now they don't know how to climb down.
Exactly.
All right.
And sir, in addition to this, I think thank you so much for letting our audiences know with how the facts are as well. I think what we really need to kind of talk about over here is why is India blaming Pakistan for the Pahalgam false attack? What do they want to take out of it? Is it something, is it a vendetta that they would want to go against Pakistan? Is it something which is more political? Do you think that it's, for their political gain? Because we have seen the BJPization earlier as well. We have seen the Modi's fascist regime. We have seen Modi within India targeting the minorities. May it be the mass killing of the Muslims. May it be the Sikh people within India who have actually been troublesome by the Modi's fascist government. We have seen how their actors have been banned. We have seen so many things Modi doing under his fascist regime within India against minorities. So what do you think in your sane mind they're trying to do? Because we have got the leaked documents over here which states that it was an orchestrated false flag operation to blame Pakistan. What do they want to get out of it?
I think in my own analysis, there are four objectives. So two are major objectives, and two you can say are the sidekicks or the, something that you get out of it. One, of course, is this Indus Water Treaty abrogation has been a desire of RSS since very long, and this is part of the agenda. They probably feel that Pakistan is weakened, and in case we can abrogate it, they'll not be able to respond. But I think there was a lot of response from Pakistan, like Bilawal Bhutto saying it, Maulana Fazl, everybody, that this is at cost of it can't be that Pakistanis are die of thirst. So if that is the case, then they'll be gone. So I think that is a boomerang. Let's see where it goes. But definitely one was Indus Water Treaty. The way, as you mentioned, hurriedly the FIR and all that naming Pakistan. So it means that it was all preconceived. So that also proves that there is a false flag because you can't abrogate or attempt to abrogate a treaty which survives two wars. So it means that this was one major objective. The other is, I think, vote bank politics, because Bihar elections and then BJP feels that this time I think they had some reverses, especially in the cow belt also, that they want to regain. And the only, I think, thing which sells is Pakistan and anti-Muslim hate. So, killing of these Hindus, although the Muslims are also killed, it's very unfortunate. I condemn it. When in media said that innocent people getting killed is condemnable. But if it is done by Indian agencies or Moody's fascist thug, then probably they are the terrorists. So it means that this was to create a wedge and gain. Again, this is again boomerang because now 300 million Muslims are feeling basically outsiders. They are being demonized, and I think there's going to be a huge wave against Hindutva, and probably this is going to start rolling back. These are my assessments. And then, of course, the other objective could be uh, basically now trying to suppress the Kashmiris because they feel that after 370 there was less reaction. Now basically they would want to go physically suppress whatever resistance is there, and then also suppress the rest of the liberals. But I feel that all things are boomeranging. So probably all these objectives that they wanted to achieve, one they not be able to do it. The other is it will boomerang so hard. Like Punjab, just now, imagine in Punjab, people are talking of Indian occupied Punjab. This is unheard of. We heard about occupied Kashmir, but not. They're wall chucking against Modi. They're talking of a buffer state. Such calls now start coming from India Northeast. There was, I think, firefight between Indian forces and Nagaland forces, and yesterday there was some killing. So even they are Mizoram. So I think it will start fracturing, and that was my prediction earlier also that we should pray that Modi stays till 2030 because he's going to erupt so many fault lines in India that's going to become untenable, and it's good for people that they'll get rid of this Brahman Raj. So I think these are some of the things that I feel they tried to do, but somehow it boomed. And even international community not bought. I think America, Marco Rubio is saying that you sit down and talk. So basically, this is the fact coming from their closest friend.
Exactly. But thank you so much, Brigade Saab, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you, and thank you so much, for revealing to our audiences about the warmongering media of India and the Moody's fascist regime and what they want, from Pakistan. And it is unfortunate to see how they would want to destabilize, the entire peace which actually is as of now within the South Asian region for their own political gains. And I do believe that people, the nationals of the India certainly will have sane minds to realize their BJPized government that this is not a step they need to take, because Pakistan is ready with a befitting response. I need to head out towards a short break, but there are a few things that I would want to share with you first up. Now, obviously, US is monitoring South Asian tension. The United States is closely monitoring the situation in South Asia and has encouraged Pakistan and India to work toward a responsible resolution that maintains long-term peace and regional stability. In addition to this, I would want to kind of add on over here how the Chinese envoy has actually even called on to Prime Minister, but sticking to US, where the US State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce made these remarks during a regular press briefing, referring to US Secretary of State Marco Rubio's telephonic conversations with Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif and Indian Foreign Ministers J. Shankar. Bruce said Washington will continue to be in touch with the government of both countries at multiple levels, and that's exactly what we want. I've got another breaking news which just came in as well. So imagine that, if you are to kind of precisely stick to the Pahalgam false flag operation, it is a lapse on their security policy. And not just that, I think that, India has actually agreed from within as well, and the intelligence agencies were at a lapse. The intelligence agencies couldn't do what they were supposed to do within India. And the expert on terrorism over there, Jay Sani, actually says that, it is the lapse of the Indian government of how they were not able to, rectify, and why they weren't able to rectify was because of the fact that it was an orchestrated false flag operation against Pakistan. In addition to this, I think that what I would want to kind of share over here is how the Jinnah's two-nation theory today actually stands proven, and how a 41-year-old woman was actually expelled from India with her children to go away because she was a Muslim. I'm heading out towards a short break. Now imagine that, and this is something which was actually reported by ANI, and it is sad to see, how India has actually pressed a panic button, in between an exchange of fire in between their Sikh armed officers and the other armed officers. 6 Sikh officers were actually killed in between a crossfire. So we can pretty much imagine, what India is going through, and they're looking for a face saving. Whether they will get this face saving, I don't think so. And Pakistan will not give them a chance to get away with this. We're going to go for a short break. When you come back, we will be in conversation with the ambassador who actually had a meeting with the OIC members as well, and what the OIC members had to say about Pakistan and how they're backing Pakistan. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Good morning. Welcome back, continuing where we actually went on for a break as well. And I think people in India are watching, people of the government of India, of the fascist regimes, Moody's fascist regime are actually watching. And I want you to see all of this. And there's a reason why I want you to share with this as well, because Pakistan stands prepared. Our resolve is steadfast, and we will give you a befitting response if you think of any misadventure, and that too against Pakistan. We will be here every single day. We're waiting, and you do know for a fact what our DG ISPR said. He said that we will not start, but if you get into any misadventure, certainly we will tell you where we will take it from there onwards, and we will decide about the end as well. And which is why we see the top trends today, where the DG ISPR said, "Hum tayar hain, azmana nahi." And I think that's exactly what the Indian government needs to listen to very carefully. Hum tayyar hain, azmana nahi. Even though Pakistan is a peaceful country, but if somebody is going to look at our sovereignty with an evil eye, we will give them a befitting response. Not just that, Pakistan Navy's operational readiness officers personnel reaffirmed commitment to national security. And I want you all to kind of take a good look at it. The Pakistan Navy has released a special video highlighting its operational readiness and unwavering commitment to safeguarding the nation's maritime fronts. The video features officers and personnel stationed at sea and along coastal defense lines expressing their loyalty to the country and their determination to uphold maritime security. We have spoken with the armed forces officers as well, and they tell us how prepared we are. And alhamdulillah, when we say Nare Takbir Allahu Akbar, I don't think that somebody can actually come close to that as well. Another one where our information minister Akhtar said Pakistan has credible information that India can opt for any misadventure. And we've been telling you, if you come towards any misadventure, you will get a befitting response. In an interview to CNN, the information minister stated a Pakistani nation and institution are fully capable to defend their independence and sovereignty. He reiterated Pakistan's stance on transparent and impartial investigating by ejecting India's baseless accusations after the orchestrated Pahalgam incident. Akhtar stated that Pakistan has no role in current tension and Pakistan's armed forces are completely ready to confront any situation. And where I did speak about how India is actually going to resort to extreme provisions, Pakistan obviously shares that with OIC as well. We're very lucky that we've been joined by former Ambassador Dr. Jamil Khan as well. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you feeling today?
A very good morning, and thank you for having me. Glad to be with you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your time. Sir, can you please share, what Pakistan has been communicating with their OIC members and how will it reflect back on the regional peace or the preparedness that Pakistan have, unfortunately, if India thinks of any misadventure?
Well, Pakistan has made it very clear at all levels. In fact, we have our engagements at the multi-layered level. You're quoting about our Pakistan representative, Mr. Asim Iftikhar, Ambassador Asim Iftikhar, who had engagement with Secretary General of United Nations and as well as the OIC members there. And there was one thing which we have already been telling it to the entire world that we have a resolve to maintain peace and stability. But obviously, as you said in your intro, if there is any threat to our sovereignty and the territorial integrity, then in that case, the United Nations Charter, it gives us full authority to respond and respond in a befitting manner. We know that war is not a kind of option, preferred option, but if it is imposed upon, then that becomes the national responsibility to retaliate and respond in a calibrated, calculated manner, because we understand that we are two nuclear power neighbors, and we understand that the people of these countries, they deserve, Indian people, poor people, they deserve a better life. And if India wants to reach to a double-digit progress, the only way is to have a proper and right approach towards their neighbors. And if they don't have the right approach, then obviously neighbors are not obliged to really remain under their influence unnecessarily, and particularly Pakistan. So coming back on that, I have given you the example of our permanent representative, but the voices from their own community in India, Mr. Sitapal, who is the ex-governor of Kashmir, it says Modi to be made accountable because that's their own security lapse. And they're just trying to elect Pakistan as Pakistan Prime Minister, Pakistan ministers have very clearly mentioned it to the entire world and given the offer. And obviously, Mike Pompeo, Mike Rubio, once he was speaking with the Prime Minister, I can very safely imagine that Prime Minister has given that example that we are absolutely open for a very transparent and independent investigation. What else India wants? It's very logical, very plausible. The world is quite convinced on that, and that's why you do not find any kind of allegation, support to the allegation which India wanted to make. Even in the Security Council, India couldn't get the support. India wanted that Pakistan's name should figure out in the Security Council statement, and the linkage of the incident of Pahalgam that was attributed by the Indians, and they tried their best that it should be also mentioned in the Security Council statement. But that didn't happen. That means the better sense prevails. And we fully understand that even in 2019, we had given very befitting response, and we showed that what capability we have, both the ground forces and the air force and the naval forces, and we have demonstrated it. We don't have to really prove it any
True.
further, and we have told them that this is a red line. If you do any misadventure, we'll respond to it. And then one very long outstanding issue, that is Indus Water Treaty. We are very clear through our National Security Committee that that's our existential threat, and that would tantamount to declaration of war. The world is really considering it very seriously, and world is focusing on it. And in my understanding, this was extra legal. There's no mention in the Indus Water Treaty about the not suspension or the held in abeyance, keeping this Indus Water Treaty. And I am sure that that has to be India has to
And
retract
Dr.
from
Khan,
there.
Dr. Khan, very sorry to interject. And what was the response that we have gotten from our OIC members? How did they respond to how Pakistan wants peace within the South Asian region? How we want to de-escalate this friction? How we do know for a fact China, Turkey, Azerbaijan, all the neighboring countries are backing Pakistan, even within Europe. Even the US State Department has spoken how they have instructed Pakistan and India to de-escalate the situation. What was the response of the OIC member countries?
The reflection of the response, you can see it from the entire Gulf country, that they want that the situation should be de-escalate, and they have spoken with India also, and that is the. But if you would ask me about the legal steps, what is to be taken from the OIC platform should, as a matter of fact, call for the extraordinary meeting of the head of the states, or if not head of the states, then at least the foreign ministers, and they should deliberate this point. They should pass a resolution. They should ask General Assembly that they should resolve this matter. They should take cognizance of it. They should all ask Security Council. But our OIC, we have to admit, is not as prudent, is not that effective, and therefore they would not go for that proceedings, which is enunciated in their own charter. And I'm referring to Article number 8 of the OIC Charter, and Article number 9, which warrants that in such situation, any member which is under threat by any other external force, they have to call for the meeting. So I would expect and desire that they should call for a meeting, and they should pass a resolution, if nothing else. I was also focusing on a statement the preceding night by the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, and he also says the response does not. I hope the response does not lead to the regional conflict, and that's what the entire world is worried, and that's why their Secretary of State, Foreign Minister, was also worried, and that's why you see that those 36 hours, which we had a very credible information with our government and with our government's spokesperson, which is the information minister, who had really informed the entire world that this is what India is trying to do. And I guess that's because of
Exactly.
that there was some pressure, and the Indian had to really retract from there. And as I said, there is from within India, Mr. Sitapal, I have already given you the example, the BBC interview of the ex-RAW chief, Amirjeet Singh. He says that failure of India, in Belgaum, and they're blaming India by itself. Instead they are just trying to throw that blame. What is happening, as a matter of fact, is, and this last 10-second point, which I like to illustrate, what's happening, as a matter of fact, India, the BJP government, propelled by the RSS theology and ideology, they are utilizing national security of India for the political propaganda. That's the whole crux of the thing. And that's why even the secular people in India, which are about 70 to 80% Indians, they are quite worried that where Modi, the government, is going to lead to the country. And you remember, you know, if the conflict goes, to the level of the war, the India has to spend almost about $700 million per day, and that would be from the welfare of the people of India, the poor people of India. That is not a joke. And Pakistan obviously would also have to give the matching response, even if we have to spend some money. We know that the war is not a preferred option, but as I
That's right.
said, that if it is imposed upon us, we will respond to it.
Wonderful.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you so much for enlightening us with these facts. I would like to dive into the fact that how India has been defying the UN resolutions regarding the Kashmir issue for such a long time, and it is high time that the international community realizes that the root cause of this conflict is not cross-border incidents like these, but it is because the Kashmir issue has been left unresolved under international law. So what do you have to say regarding this?
Well, this very incident, which India started themselves, this propaganda and this allegation, which they've been doing it in 2016, they did it in 2018, they did it once there was a high power visit from the United States in 2020, once Blinken was visiting and so on. Every time they would try and do some false flag. But this time around, what has happened is the entire world has become cognizant of it as to what is the root cause. And the root cause, as you said, is the Kashmir problem. And Kashmir problem, unless the Indian occupied Kashmir and the whole Kashmir, unless that problem is not resolved in accordance with the resolutions, there are about 7 resolutions, starting from resolution number 47, unless they resolve this issue, this problem would keep triggering off, and the world, the region would continue to be alarmed of the two nuclear neighbors who have this very important and
Exactly.
significant, long, outstanding dispute, which is the dispute of the agenda of Security Council. So therefore,
Exactly.
this matter has to be resolved, and it has come to the
True.
limelight once again. And I believe that they will start focusing on it, and particularly the United States.
And exactly, I think that's where we need to take advantage as well. But thank you so much, Dr. Khan, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you and for everybody who's out there. And I think that's one thing that, I look at, as a very positive, which has actually emerged out of the entire situation from 2019, where the abrogation of the Article 370, and there was another article, I think it was 35A, if I remember it correctly. People within the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir have been under a siege. And honestly, I think with this orchestrated Pahalgam false flag attack by the fascist Modi's regime actually brings the international attention once again to the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and how it actually needs to be resolved. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, as Pakistanis, alhamdulillah, we stand behind our armed forces and we are steadfast in our resolve, and we will always back our armed forces, and we will be ready, and we are ready to give a befitting response. Pakistan Zindabad, Pak Army, Paindabad.